Well, this is my first book review, so let's get that in. Let's get into it. That's what I meant. The first book review I'm going to be doing on this channel is The System Divine. And The System Divine is by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. So there's that. So it's by two authors. Just gonna give you a good look. So this took me a pretty long time. It took me like a month or two, more than a month. But what happened was this is a dystopian steampunk type of book. And it's about like revolution. It's about these three characters. And then in the first book, it starts off with that. And then in the second, it expands in the final. It comes with how many people? 1, 2, 3. Then 4, 5, 6, I think. So it kind of gets a teeny bit complicated, but it's usually very organized. It's based off Les Miserables, but I know that I'm saying that wrong because I'm illiterate and stuff. So there's that. I'm just going to say my ratings, and then I'm going to, for the whole series, and then I'm going to go more into depth for each one and why I rate them. I'm going to rate this series about a 7.5 out of 10. And the reason why is because I have some things that I really enjoy about the book. Like there's emotions. But there was also some things that I was so confused as to why the heck it was happening to begin with. So let's get into the characters. I liked Chitine. Chitine is one of the characters. But you could tell that the two other characters, Alouette and Marcellus, let me see. Marcellus is an officer and the son of a traitor, groomed to command by his legendary grandfather, and then Alouette is living in an underground refuge where she guards and protects the last surviving library on the planet. Interesting, right? The characters didn't really spark anything for me personally. Like, you could tell that the authors put more interest and liked the character Chitine more than the two other characters. Alouette in the second book gets much better, and then in the third book she gets much better. But but Marcellus fails. Hold on. I just grew taller. Marcellus completely fails in the entire series. I feel like that's a little bit harsh. It probably is. But what happens is, like, there's times where, like, he's a good character and he does actually make changes and he's, like, getting there. And then they completely rip it up from you and they don't actually go through completely all the way with his character development. You see, Marcellus is a wimpy character. And, you know, I'm fine with wimpy male characters. Like, I like the representation. Like, spread it around, you know? Because usually in books, they always have, like, strong, manly men to do other work and stuff. So it's nice to see, representation of characters like that. But sometimes they can go a little too far where it's like they can't do anything. And you could also completely mess up that representation of a character with, like, instead of bronze and stuff. Like, Marcellus in, like, the second book was asked to do something. Not going to go into detail about it because I don't want to spoil it. But he, what was he doing? Someone, like, asked him to do something. And he was like, I don't know if I can do it. I can't do anything. I can't. See, it's stupid. And so, yeah, and just every moment that I thought that he was gonna actually, like, grow as a person, grow some guts, he didn't. He never did. I don't know why I said grow some guts. I don't think that's the idiom for it. Phrasing. Grow some gut. Grow a gut. Get a gut. I don't know. But, so, for Common Sense Mio, for people who are reading the series and wanna, like, are interested in it, but are worried for, like, violence and kissing, etc., there's mediocre, romance. So, like, they kind of, like, sprinkle it in here and there. They're like, ooh, I got you. I got you. There is no Devil's Tango, so you don't have to worry about that. If you don't know what I'm referring to, I'm not going to tell you. But there's none of that. It doesn't get anywhere near there. Violence is kind of like Star Wars. It starts in the back. It literally says, wait, where is it? It's now a place for extravagant, elite class reigns, blah, 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 blah. Where a rebel group long thought dead is resurfacing, something like that. Hold on. They mentioned something that on the last thing that kind of gives you insight of how it's going to go down. But a shocking murder will bring Aloy to the surface for the first time in 12 years. And that's not a spoiler. That's on the back of the page. So there's execution stuff. That's not really a spoiler. That's just common. And then what else? Kissing. Kissing. Whatever. But yeah, I feel like I should jump right back into Marcellus. What else does he do? He does that, like, what is it? He's kind of a smidge bit like a pick-me boy. Like, he's like, to some character, he's like, oh, you're like my safe ground. You're like my stable person. Like, you stabilize me. You make me whole. And, like, at first I thought that was really cute. Like, I was like, stop it. But now looking back at it, he never progresses. And so that's one of the negatives for this book series. I should show it in a better angle. Get the lighting, catch the lighting. One thing that, so let's go into the final book. The final book. What happens is, in the final chapter somewhere around here, there's like, what is it? There's this whole speech that goes down. You know that trope? This is like not a really known trope. I mean, like, I don't think people talk about it much because it's more like a personal pet peeve of mine. What happens is the trope is basically like the protagonist, usually a girl, is like, oh, I have to do this huge speech and everything, and I don't know how to do it. I'm no leader. I don't have any motivation. I have nothing. And then, like, immediately after, they go up on the stage and they have everything down. They immediately just have, like, this huge speech, so descriptive and everything down, and it just doesn't feel realistic. Like, for once in my life, I would like it just for a book to be funny and have someone be, like, super confident that they're going to do a great speech and something just completely falls apart. This book doesn't really do that. It just has the character just go on for like a huge dystopian, like, peace revels and we need to learn to work together. We're all family and stuff like that. And it goes on for like 2 chapters, so that was insufferable and infuriating, but that's because I've read so many of these books, so maybe for me it's like nothing new and it's just every day. But maybe if you're new to dystopian, you'll like eat this right up. You'll find it enticing and invigorating and enthralling. I don't think that's the right word, but it doesn't matter. Is enthralling? I don't know. I do, for the book covers, I really enjoyed them. They look really nice. They look really nice. But, yeah, and then what else is there? Most of the characters are good. I felt like Gabriel and Etienne were they were very similar characters. But I don't know what to do with that. Like, so what? They're just similar characters. That's not really anything important. My parents are home. But anyways, what would I give? First book, I would give a 3 out of 5. I still enjoyed it. I still found the romance nice. The tension. There was one scene where I was really peeved off at a character, and you could probably tell out of the whole interview what that character was, who he was. But in the second book, the level of tension rises. Things are going down. There's some crazy people. A lot of crazy people. And it's fun. It's good. I would say it's better than the first 4 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. Well, actually, no. Well, yeah. And then this one is a little better, but it still lacks in some areas. It felt like they could have shortened it down a bit, skimmed it down, because look at this book. This book is thick. It's the size of my head. It's bigger. I would say maybe still a 4 out of 5, or maybe like a 3.5 out of 5. Needless to say, I still enjoy the series a lot, but I still had some things. There is this one scene. I don't remember what book it has it in. I think it's in the second or third. It's probably in the third. And they put it in there, and I feel like they did it, and there was like no reason to do it whatsoever. You'll probably understand. It's about the romance. And it's like, these characters, it's 2 characters had no chemistry whatsoever. And all of a sudden, there's this one chapter, and it's never talked about or referenced again. And it's so confusing. And there is a love triangle. But the love triangle, you don't need to worry about too much.